YouTube, DanOttawa here, coming at you with, I think, an interesting video that you will find very useful if you are in the lower elo range or if you haven't done like a pick six tournament before. So there was a charity tournament being held, and one of my subscribers, Revive Me Ophelia, who is very active in the Discord, which is linked in the description. Move this down a bit because my face is covered. Um, Sent me a message saying that she played in this tournament and she can win against Arrohh. And for those of you who do not know, Arrohh is like one of the best GBL battlers in the world. It's always like top ranked in, I think, definitely in GBL, maybe itself as well. So to go against them is just like a huge, like you're in trouble to start with. So she's like, you should showcase my battles and like pick it apart. So what I thought I would do is like, if you're ever in one of these like tournaments that you're not used to, how do you go about it? How do you build a team? How do you analyze your opponent? And then I'm going to go over the battles. So they played what was the Summer Cup. So I got right below me 1500 CP, normal, fire, water, grass, electric, and bug. And what I do with these tournaments and what I do with every sort of cup style tournament is first I just go over like, okay, what is the typing? What is it strong against and what is it weak against? And then that'll help you determine like, is it going to be useful in this meta? So let's just start with normal. Normal doesn't really have, normal's a weird one because you like, you're not really, it doesn't have a lot of like effectiveness in general. So let's just go with something like fire because it's an easier. So fire is weak to water. Obviously, water's there. It is also weak to ground and rock, right? So those are not on the list. You could be dual typings, but right off the bat, they're not on the list. So you only one of your weaknesses in there. Plus, there's also grass and bug, which you do super effective against, and you do neutral against the electric and normal. So right off the bat, I'm thinking I'm going to probably put a fire on my team just looking at that. Water, again, you're weak to grass and electric, both of which are on here. So there's two weaknesses to water right off the bat. So I'll probably be a little hesitant to bring a water in such a limited meta. Bug, again, bug doesn't have like a lot, like bug's not great in general, and there's no psychic on here, so I'm probably staying away from bug. Electric, uh, good. The grass is the only thing that really resist. Or yeah, does bug resist? I'm not really sure about bug. But for the most part, only grass resists. So maybe you grab an electric on my team, and then you build a balanced team. So let's go with Arrow's team first because I think his is pretty well balanced in he's got two normals, but one is a flyer, right? So Vigoroth is going to be weak to fighting as a normal, but the Pidgeot is going to be neutral to fighting because it's half flying. He's got the fire, Ninetales, Shadow Ninetales can't go wrong there. He's got two grass, one as a ghost, and then one as a flyer, and then an electric Raichu normal. And Ophelia has not a similar idea, quite honestly, right? You have Tropius, which is the same. You have a flyer, Noctowl versus Pidgeot. You have a fire, Marowak versus Ninetales. Vigoroth's the same. And then the only difference is throwing in the Walrein and the Magnet Zone. Magnet Zone has electric as Pichu. So, right, so like the same sort of idea, balanced team overall. So the team build is not bad at all. One thing that I did notice is like, okay, if you get, it's not that it's the worst case scenario, but obviously Vigoroth, Walrein, and Magnezone are all weak to count like a counter user, so like a Vigoroth. So I expect the Vigoroth to come in immediately. So now you have your opponent, right? You have 6 versus 6. So I would look at there's you can go to PvPoke and the easiest thing to do is go to PvPoke and put it through a matrix, right? But you can just kind of analyze the team just based off looking at it, right? So at least in Vigoroth you have the mirror match, but otherwise your Magnezone and your Walrein's gonna be weak to counter. Um, you have an electric there, so you got to watch out for your Noctowl and your Walrein, right? And your Tropius is half flying, so that's still going to hit for neutral. So if I'm looking at their team and I'm looking at my team, and you have a Magnezone and a Walrein and a Tropius, which are all kind of bad against Ninetales, I would expect them to run Ninetales, Raichu, and then something to beat your Marowak, Pidgeot. Is probably some sort of lineup that they are going to bring because that is a lineup that I would probably bring against your team, right? Because the Ninetales is going to do super well against almost everything except for the Marowak. Your Pidgeot's going to wall your Marowak. Raichu, you had the Wild Charge, which is going to nuke almost everything on this team. So that's how I would do it. So let's get into the battles. and go over what now, from your perspective, how I play based on what I'm seeing. So you leave a Vigoroth into a Ninetales, right? So there's Ninetales. This is what do you have out there? You have a Marowak and a Magnezone. So yeah, they only have one counter user and it's a Vigoroth, so you can do fine there in the mirror match. Plus you have a hard Marowak counter. Um, yeah, in general, this is okay. Yeah, this is okay lineup, right? So decent lead. It's going to be pretty. Did you both auto switch out there? So they come into Vigoroth and you are Marowak, so this is a really, really good advantage here. Except, okay, so you are running Shadowbone and Fire Blast on your Marowak. The only problem with this is you're running Fire Spin as a fast move. So usually when you run Shadowbone Fire Blast, it's because you're running Hex as a fast move, because Hex is a faster energy generation. Fire Spin's a little slower, but it does like better sort of damage in fast move damage. So the problem is you're gonna have to build up to the Fire Blast until the Fire Blast because Shadowbone is resisted here. Yeah, okay. So Shadowbone is resisted, so this is going to be a super resisted move, and because you don't have a bait move, the bait move as Bone Club is a bad move, so they're probably not going to shield Bone Club anyways. So they're probably going to let this go, and it's going to be double resisted. So yeah, don't throw a ghost move into a normal typing. So there is your double resisted. That's unfortunate. The good news is they can only throw Bulldoze, right? They only have Body Slam Bulldoze, so they can only throw Bulldoze because Body Slam's double resisted. And I guess he tried to bait there because that is resisted. So at this point, I would just go full farm. I would probably shield this one because it could be Bulldoze and he's probably not going to bait twice, and he does not. So that's good. I watched this first battle. Um, so yeah, at this point, because he's super dry on energy because he just threw the body slam and then he dumped all his energy on Bulldoze. I think at that point you just commit to the full farm down because throwing this is a waste of a ton of energy unnecessarily. So you're gonna like put down a lot of energy here unnecessarily. I think you just full farm and come out with a move. So Pidgeot, again, you're gonna need, so Pidgeot is your, so far, what is he running? Vigoroth, Pidgeot, Ninetales, right? Almost, so instead of using Raichu, he's using Vigoroth, which is sort of the same, right? You're taking out, it'll do well in almost all matchups. So sort of idea of what I expected him to run. You need to get the Fire Blast off here. You can get to the move, throw the Fire Blast. Banks the move. Okay, I don't actually hate that because you have the Ninetales coming out, but you can force shields with you get so it's funny because okay, so you can force shields with the Magnezone, so I don't hate that. You could also come in. You could also come. I know why you're coming there because everything's resisted, and if you get a head on energy, you can start throwing wild charges or at least bait the Ninetales. The only problem I could see, and you have a Shadow Bone coming out of this, so it's not too terrible. And then Vigoroth. Okay, I don't actually hate that coming here. Banking the energy, come in here. So the problem is they're now just they can just fully farm. So your circles there. Oh my just your just one thing I noticed, you maybe don't play a ton of GBL. Your circles are very limited to like the bottom three there. You miss like the top one over here every single time. So just work on larger circles to get all those bubbles. Throw any move here. Yeah, just do chip damage. It's going to be resisted. Okay, got all of them there. It's going to be resisted, so they're going to let it go. And now it's loaded, so you can come in into the Shadow Bone right away. I think you almost have to throw. Okay, so yeah, so this, I don't know if it's a game mechanic now. I've noticed that a lot, and I've noticed that um, a couple times. It seems like the Pokemon that is in has priority to get a move off before your Pokemon coming in. And I don't know if that's a new game mechanic, and I don't know if that's supposed to be the way that it works because we just had a Sylph tournament where the same thing happened. Uh, our opponent, like our player, had needed one Shadow Claw to take them out. And they came in with a charged move Walrein that had Ice School Spear that would have taken us out. But the Shadow Claw from us, because we were already in, took out the Walrein that was coming in before they even had the chance to throw the charge move. So I don't know if that's like a new game mechanic or if that's um, something that is just a bug. I don't know. So that's just something to keep in mind going forward for everyone who's playing. So yeah, I think you have to shield, get off the shadow bone here. Okay, so okay. So shadow bone is a stab move. It also hits neutral. Fire Blast is obviously a bigger move, but it is resisted. So you want to go Shadow Bone here, because Shadow Bone from a Shadow Pokemon probably would have taken this out, and you would have had a bit of energy. Not that it matters, because one Pidgeot's going to take you out. But now you're dry, so they can just fully farm down here, get a move off on your Vigoroth, and then they're going to have the Pidgeot to sweep in the back. So they're going to get a move off, and then what I would expect is for them to switch out immediately and then hit you with a move. Or just hit you with the overheat too. Yeah, this game's over. I knew the Pidgeot had a ton of energy, so they could throw probably a Brave Bird here, but they could just throw Feather Dance at this point. Okay, so a few mistakes there. Like I said, I would run Bone Club on your Marowak. I would not throw resisted moves. Don't throw Ghost into normal. Don't throw Fire into fire. Like use those um, moves that are hit neutral. Okay, next match here. Okay, so fast forward a little bit here. Okay, we have Walrein into Pidgeot. Okay, amazing. So your team is Walrein. Okay, yep, same thing. Um, yeah, like the team comp. Like your team comp overall is pretty solid. Pidgeot lead here is amazing. So they switch out into Ninetales. So hit them with them. So immediately you need to hit them with the Marowak because you saw that they have Weather Ball and Overheat. Both moves are resisted by your Marowak, so you got to come in Marowak immediately and just keep throwing those Shadow Bones. So staying in here is not a good situation because this is loading up on energy. You can only throw the Earthquake to take this out, and now you're limiting yourself. Again, this is your main counter to the Pidgeot. You need to save this alignment on the Pidgeot. So I know you're trying to go for an Earthquake because an Earthquake will one shot, um, but I think you need to save this for the Pidgeot, and you had such a good matchup with the Marowak, so you need to get out of there immediately into the Marowak. But we are in here. Yeah, because now they know you're going for the Earthquake. Yeah, so Marowak was the right move. Shadowbone would have. They can't really hurt you with anything here, so Shadowbone immediately. Yeah, this is what you should have done from the start, but that is okay. I know that you do not play much GBL. So they use both shields, which is interesting because at best they got an overheat here. What I'm guessing is they're going to overheat or weather ball maybe because it's okay, good bait. And now they come Pidgeot back. I wouldn't be surprised if they let up an energy and then come Pidgeot to try and catch you off guard. Even if it's overheat, I think you live it. So it is an overheat. I expect the Pidgeot to come back in. Okay, so they're just going to let this go. Are they maybe still switch locked? So the problem is to you've got to try and get to the. They know you have Shadow Bone. It's resisted, and now they're just going to farm you down and come out with 100 energy. Yeah, you need to come out. You need to throw because this is going to do nothing because it's a normal as well. So now they're just going to fully farm and come out with 100 energy, basically, to have to throw at either of these Pokemon. So now that you came in here, they're automatically going to Brave Bird you and then switch out into their last Pokemon. And if it's a Vigoroth, which maybe you're done. Yeah, because now you're double weak to fighter. They can shield. They don't even need to shield, quite honestly, because this is not going to take them out. So they're just going to counter you down here, and they're going to counter it on the Walrein. Oh, they don't have any shields. But yeah, counter, counter, and this game's over. So those are the two matches. I think again, this is truly like he did everything that I would do because he's one of the best in the world. Not that I'm one of the best in the world, but it's just like basic strategy there. And yeah, you again, I know you're like 2000-ish ELO. You need to know matchups. You just, especially in that second matchup, when you have like such a dominating matchup in Walrein versus Pidgeot, and then you have such a dominating matchup in Marowak versus Ninetales, you need to make that switch immediately. You need to keep that alignment. Keeping switch and type advantage is like one of the main things you need to do to win in GBL. So hope that was useful for you. Hope that was useful for everyone else watching. Let me know if you like these videos and I can do potentially more. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.